with Ryan. I do regret getting married in prison so fast. It wasn't anything like what the headlines were saying about a fridge and food. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
You told me when we spoke here in LA, Ken is going to leave Texas to move to Louisiana to be closer to you.
We're not going to live together. I'm still under parole. We'll hang out. We'll date.
Do you plan to try to go get a normal job?
I do want to get a 9 to 5. Maybe I should just go work at McDonald's. I don't want to go through my whole life being the girl that murdered her mother. You know my story. All right, now let's see what I do with my life.
Life after lockup. Of course, you're no stranger to showing everything about your life on camera, but we've previously seen your life behind bars. You're free now. So why open your life up to cameras yet again?
When I was in prison, the prison confessions was a way for me to share my story in a very exclusive way and what I was going through in prison with my parole hearing. And so this is an extension of that. So I'm sharing my life outside of prison because by the time December had rolled around and I was about ready to get out, I was like, I'm so tired of this prison version of myself. I don't feel like I am a prisoner. I am tired of labels. I'm about to be a free woman, and that's going to be a new start for me. So I wanted to show people that I could be more than what I was labeled. And by doing that, I opened myself up to cameras. You know, people have preconceived ideas of who I am. So let me break that mold and show them who I really am.
One of the big things that we see in episode 1 is sort of the challenges that you endure with your parole officers. Can you set the record straight on what it is you can and can't do? What does your parole look like?
It's fairly simple. You know, I have to obey by all laws, which is pretty common, right? I have to get advance permission from my parole officer if I'm to travel out of state.
Okay.
I could travel anywhere in the state of Louisiana without permission. No drugs, no alcohol. And I do have to get mandatory therapy, which is going really good for me. And no contact with my co-defendant. And other than that's parole.
That's it. And how long does this last for?
Until June of next year.
I did the math. You have been out of prison for 153 days.
Oh my goodness.
What is maybe the one thing you would do differently about getting out of prison and transitioning into the real world?
Prioritizing my mental health a little better.
Getting into those therapy sessions?
I found a therapist as soon as I could have. The urgency of putting myself first, I put that on the back burner. And so I wish I could have done that a little differently.
You know, it's so interesting that you say put yourself first, because watching this first episode of Life After Lockup, that's what your family said. They were like,
she's 30 years old. She's making 17, 18-year-old person type decisions.
Is there a part of you that wishes that you had waited, you know, coming out of prison, maybe trying being single and reacclimating yourself to the world?
I mean, absolutely. Like I say, I don't regret the relationship with Ryan, but I do regret getting married in prison so fast.
The timing of it. Not the marriage, but the timing.
Right, but the timing. And I really feel like it was just something that I had to learn on my own. I had to come out and live with a partner that I had known for 3 years. As you know, we went through ups and downs in our relationships, but actually living with someone is so much different. Yeah. And people kept telling me that, and I'm just kind of like, nah. But you know, now in hindsight, I'm like, I understand where they were coming from.
Was it something that you realized while you were living together that made you think, like, light bulb moment, I've got to end this?
You know, it wasn't one specific thing. And you're going to see that on the show. Viewers are going to see that on the show, that it wasn't anything like what the headlines are saying about a fridge and food. That has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Okay.
That was so overblown. It was a bunch of things that all compiled together that I came to that decision. Whenever there's a good friendship there, you always kind of hope for the best, and you think that maybe it'll work in the long term, but then you're kind of like, oh, we're just too different.
Where are you at with your divorce proceeding?
We're in the beginning stages, so it's gonna be probably October, because we have to wait the 180 days to have this process going. We haven't even had our first court yet, so.
You're not even legally divorced, but you have seemingly found love again. The universe brought you and Ken, your former fiance, back together. Was there ever a part of you that thought, maybe I should pump the brakes and just be by myself for a second?
I felt, over the course of a couple months, I felt like more disconnected from Ryan emotionally. And so having that disconnection already there made it a smooth transition, because it's kind of like Ken and I have always remained friends even after our breakup in 2019.
Yeah.
You know,
And we know Ryan has made it very clear he did not like that.
Right. He's been very spoken, and rightfully so. That's his opinion. Those are his to feel. So that is his valid feelings.
He's trying to weasel his way back in because now Gypsy's out of prison.
Who was that? You text him.
I don't care.
Delete it then.
When my marriage was over and I walked away, that's when Ken and I developing a reconnection and starting to find that, okay, back in 2019 and 2017, it wasn't the right time for us. But now that I'm free, we're able to reconnect and see if that right time is now.
And is it?
It is. Everything's going really good with us.
So how did he come back into your life?
I mean, we had a visit
After you split from Ryan?
Yes, we kind of, had that reconnection moment where it's like old friends that have a history there. And then it wasn't until like definitely the last visit, so it was late April, that it was kind of like, okay, this is really starting to feel like the real deal. I've always loved you. You've always loved me. Why are we denying this at this point? We're denying ourselves the happiness. Yeah. So let's just be happy.
You told me when we spoke here in LA earlier this month that things were going so well. Ken is
actually going to be moving to Louisiana to be closer to me.
Is he now living in Louisiana?
Not yet, but it's very soon. We're not going to live together. I'm still under parole, so I have to parole to my family, and so I'm living at home with my dad and my stepmom for the next year. And then he'll be living in New Orleans, and we'll visit each other, we'll see each other, we'll hang out, we'll date, and do this the right way, like we always should have in the beginning,
Yeah. You told me earlier this month that
I've always said Ken was my soulmate.
So are you having conversations about the future and maybe taking that next step?
Those conversations are fun to have, but nothing seriously laid out. It's just kind of like, oh, this would be cute, XYZ when we XYZ. Just because we're in love, I don't want to know what your plans are. If you're going to propose, don't tell me, just do it. That's in his hands right now.
Okay, yes, that's up to Ken. We are going to see him on Life After Lockup. We see that moment in the trailer where you give him like a big bear hug and wrap your legs around him. What was it like sharing the screen with him and opening up both of your worlds together?
For me, it kind of comes second nature. I've been doing this for so long, and I have a comfortability in front of the cameras, whereas he doesn't. He would get a little shy, and I'm kind of like, it's okay, just be yourself. But our energy on camera is just like, you can see the connection, you can see the love. It's very obvious.
You talk about how Ken was always your soulmate. You have this undeniable connection, and it's electricity. I think a lot of people wonder, if Gypsy thinks this was always her soulmate and this was always the plan, why marry someone else?
Well, it wasn't the plan. Yes, to the fact that I feel like Ken is my soulmate, but back in 2019, he ended the relationship, and then he moved on with someone else. He got into another relationship, and that lasted for 4 or 5 years. So he was on his path doing his life, and I was on mine. And so Ryan was my partner at the time, and we were making a bond together. So Ken and I were just on two separate paths at that time, and our paths just happened to now reconnect.
Okay. So again, back to that whole timing thing.
Exactly.
Of course, I don't think anybody was expecting to see the trailer for season 5 of The Kardashians, and we see you with Kim Kardashian.
Hi, Gypsy.
Hi.
I just want to first say that Kim, it was a very big honor to get to meet her. And I know that prison reform is definitely something that she's passionate about. It's something that I'm passionate about. And so to get to connect with her and talk about that was a wonderful experience. And I know viewers are going to, enjoy kind of seeing what we talked about, but they're going to have to wait for the Kardashians and tune in for that.
Is there some sort of a project where you're teaming up to reform the prison system?
Well, I know that it's something that, I have a lot of opinions about. And so her taking the time to kind of hear me out on that was definitely kind of her, because it's like I have been on that side of things, and she's a very influential person. So it was something that was a positive experience.
Have we not seen the last of Gypsy and Kim?
Oh, I don't know about that. It's just the one meeting. So
Okay, the one
just
meeting.
the one time.
Hi, Gypsy.
Hi.
So many questions about your future and what it's going to look like when you're done promoting life after lockup. What is your plan? Do you plan to try to go get a normal job, a 9-to-5, or do you think you're too prominent of a public figure at this point where having like a conventional job and a conventional lifestyle is sort of out of the question?
When things calm down and I have no obligations, I do want to get a 9-to-5. But first, I have to kind of learn the things that get me there. So I'm still working on driving. I need to get my driver's license, as I said before. So to get to a job, I need to know how to drive.
Yeah. What is that job? What is that 9-to-5?
Part of me is kind of like, maybe I should just go work at McDonald's.
Well, I know you love those
know.
French fries. You do love those French fries.
I love those French fries. I don't know.
They are so good.
Is there
But
a
I do
field-
like retail too. So maybe something in the mall, like makeup, like Sephora or something, because I love makeup.
Yeah. So the plan is to have a normal life. You're not,
Yeah.
interested in being a full-time public figure walking
Oh
red
God,
carpets.
no. I think that everything has been very hyped up, and I've had wonderful opportunities, but I don't see those lasting. And I think that there comes a time where I have to make a choice, and that is, when do I say enough is enough? And I think after so long of having my name in the spotlight, that time is coming really soon.